Is it time for these college football programs to be panicking? It's panic meter time. Very simply put, you've seen it time and time again. I think what we should do to maybe mix it up is the threshold of hitting the panic button. Everyone assumes it has to be a 10. I think if you're in that 9 to 10 range, what's really the difference? I think if you're in the 8 to 10 range, really what's the difference? But we'll stick at 9 to 10. If you are hitting the panic button, you are at a 9 to 10. Anything sub 5, you're relatively cool. From about 6 to 8, you're sweating. You're getting a little nervous. And we're going to do this throughout the offseason, but I got about 4 programs for you that we're going to talk about. Clemson, number 1. Clemson is hitting the panic button. The panic meter is off the charts when we talk about Clemson and Dabo Swinney. And it is truly rooted in the fact of what a disappointment season was 2025. Honestly, the expectations are so low that they probably could go 8-4 with some, miraculous upset here and there. And people are going to look at Clemson and say, wow, what a turnaround. What a successful year. This idea that they're just bouncing back. Let's not forget the standard for Clemson should be up here. Emphasis on should. They should be up here, but it's just down here. And frankly, this is a program that is going to have a new offensive coordinator, new quarterback, new running backs, new offensive lineman. An entire defensive line is just going to get replaced, a corner, and many other players are going to be gone. That is all completely normal in the sport of college football. Go look at A&M. They're missing a ton of pieces, very similar in terms of just a long list of guys and a lot of productive veteran guys that are going to be leaving the building. The same exact reasons on why we were so excited about Clemson in 2025 are the same exact reasons why there's a lot of concern. What I was hoping to see is that Clemson was going to be very fruitful and a successful year, and that would build some momentum into what they could look like in 2026. But as they've, damn near exploded like a star on a grandest stage, damn near the most disappointing team. You could make an argument, the most disappointing team in all of college football. They don't have any momentum going into the next year. They are left with more questions than answers. And to bring back when talking about the A&M comparison, A&M can at least really feel confident that their talent acquisition is up to speed to catch up to the production that's leaving the building. You cannot feel the same way about Clemson. As you go look through the roster, you have a quarterback battle, but it's going to be Vizina. Spoiler alert to any Clemson fan that may not be aware. I believe Christopher Vizina is going to be the starting quarterback. You have your wide receivers returning. You have a change of the offensive coordinator, though I'm not a big fan of the hire. But the defense is going to replace a lot of talent. It's just too much turnover to feel like this team can automatically feel like they're ever going to get back to that mountaintop. And once again, it's like you're restarting the timer. We're restarting. It's going to be pushing back another 3 years before we're starting to look at them as not just a college football playoff team, because in the 12-team era, they can definitely get into the first round. But when can we expect them to ever get back to the national championship expectations that we had in 2025? Though they were completely wrong, I think based on the ingredients that we had going into the year, it was pretty fair to say that this was a national championship level team that was mismanaged, not coached to the capabilities that they needed to be. And I will even put my right hand up and say we overvalued some of the talent that was there. But as you could see when we talk about the NFL draft, there's so many Clemson players that are going to be drafted high. Peter Woods, TJ Parker, Avion Terrell, Cade Klubnik's going to get at least a draft pick somewhere. You sit here and you look around and you're like, man, all this NFL talent, and you had that bad of a season. I'm at a 9, which means hitting the panic meter or panic button. Meter button, doesn't matter. Florida State's an easy 10 when we talk about the panic meter. They are smashing the panic button. Frankly, I don't even know if there's anyone at the wheel. They're kind of on cruise control, but it's not a Tesla, so it's doomed from the start. I talked about it earlier. If you're going to fire the coach, then fire the coach. This facade, this idea that you can, give him one last gasp of air, even though you know what he is as a coach and you know what he could try to build, it's going to take much longer than a year. And you already had convinced yourself and said, yeah, we're going to fire him. Yeah, this is it. This is not good enough. Hold up. What's that price tag? Run those numbers back. What was the price tag? Give him one more year. And the difference between the 2 years is not substantial enough to say, yeah, he should wait. He should wait it out. That's not what we're looking at here. Florida State seems like a mismanaged program on every level. We talk about it when we were looking at the Lane Kiffin hire, and if we wind back a little bit and look at LSU, they had a question mark at the athletic director part, the president, all these different pieces were disconjointed, and you saw Lane as a guy that could plug in, but if you don't have alignment from every level, you're not going to build a competent program. And Florida State just seems like it is disjointed. You are pushing puzzle pieces that may fit, but we're going to try it anyways. And the biggest problem I have with keeping Mike Norvell isn't for the fact of the money piece, because it's not my money. It's truly rooted in the fact of the ramifications and the consequences that are going to follow delaying this a year. You have a staff that is basically dead on arrival. Very similar to Stanford when they had an interim coach that you knew was only going to be there for 1 year, but at least they had the hope and expectation that they were going to change hands. And it's not like they were coming off of a major contract with Frank Reich, if I remember correctly, he was the coach. You're not having the same level of expectations as Florida State. You have a change of the offensive coordinator, change of the quarterback, all these different changes on the roster if we want to be really like tactical about it. But you have an uninspiring roster, a coaching staff that if I'm an OC and I know that I basically have 1 year of stepping in and trying to fix a bad roster, I'm not feeling good about it. I don't think as a player, although there's all this change of the transfer portal, why would I try to, go revive this program when I could try to be in a better situation virtually anywhere else? There's no other way to put it than Florida State should be panicking. I think they've been panicking. If the panic button hasn't been pressed, then I'll press it for them, because this is a program that feels dead in the water. And I think because they have made the decision of not firing Mike Norvell, they're going to be dead in the water longer if they had just bit the bullet and fired him right then and there this past coaching cycle. Alabama's a team that I was trying to think of teams that could fit in this mold of potentially panicking, or maybe it's overblown. And I was talking with some of the guys and they said, yeah, you should be talking about Alabama. To me, it's a 3 out of 10. Now, timeout. We're going to review that again. Alabama's a 3 out of 10 because of how I am looking at Kalen DeBoer. Not how the administration is looking at Kalen, not how the guys that are actually signing off his checks are looking at Kalen, the ones that were signing off the same checks to Nick Saban. I'm sure that their panic is a little bit higher than mine. But I'm looking through the vessel of Kalen DeBoer and really having a realistic approach to Alabama. They've had 1 year where they made the college football playoff. The other year, they were on the outside looking and obviously had an embarrassing loss to Oklahoma. But then the following year, they won a game in Norman, Oklahoma. Impressive. I think a lot of people still have the crimson-colored glasses of the 2010s, but also kind of forget about the fact that even with Nick Saban in the new era of college football, Alabama was steadily just dropping off in production and quality. But they have the idea of over a decade of success, and they are applying those expectations to a Kalen DeBoer, which frankly I think is unfair. I still believe he's a damn good coach. I still think he is a coach that is learning and trying to adapt and evolve. The biggest sticking point for him, I think, truly is consistency. The most consistent thing about these Alabama programs for the past 2 years, and frankly, even the year prior with Nick Saban, has been inconsistency, not having the discipline. A lot of, either they've been one of the more penalized teams. They've been one of those teams that if they're expected to win by 14, the other team's going to cover. But when they are backs against the wall, have to be in Athens, go beat Kirby Smart in Georgia, they're able to do it. There's just such a high and low with him that I understand that a lot of people can have the memories of the low kind of cloud the judgment of Kalen DeBoer. I still think he is a very good coach. Is he one of the best in the entire country. I'm talking like top 5. No, I'm not there yet. I definitely have, pulled back a little bit, but this is still a damn good football coach in my eyes that is in a situation that may have been seen as a perfect one for any football coach, but we really saw Alabama not become the team that is as much of a powerhouse on the NIL front. And I still think that's being developed. I still think they need a rushing attack. I still think they need a level of physicality to go win a championship, but I still think that they can get there. And I wouldn't be writing off Kalen DeBoer moving forward